Hello, welcome to Red Tet Art. Today we're going to show you how to make this super cute fabric flower. You can use any material. I've recycled some pajamas here and they're surprisingly easy. All you need is a running stitch. So we'll get onto that and you can see how very easy it is to make. So come on then, let's get started. Okay guys, so to make your flower you will need some fabric. Something to measure round circles with. I've used some tape, this is a nice size. You will need either pencil or I'm using some chalk here just to mark your circle, some thread and of course a needle, a button and some scissors. The first thing we're going to do is cut out our circles. Now I'm going to cut out 6 circles, so I'm going to measure out one of them and then cut out probably 2 at a time. I think that saves a bit of time, but just do it, take your time, don't rush it. Actually, my chalk's a bit big, but it'll do. I need a little more pointy one than this, but you can get dressmaker's chalk if you're really into doing your sewing, and then you can draw out a little bit more accurately. So now you need to get 6 of these. So I'm going to cut 2 at a time. Now these are my old pyjama trousers, they're cute. If you're using old fabrics, which I highly recommend because it's a really thrifty way of crafting, do remember that if your fabric is old and worn, i.e. not very pretty anymore, then your resulting craft won't be pretty anymore. So I'm going to cut 4 more. Okay, now it's time to get sewing. Now I can see they're not perfectly cut, and for this craft that's fine. It's a really forgiving craft, but obviously the neater you can do it, the better, because then your final project will look neater. Now fold them over, fold it over again, and now you want to sew along the bottom. Now I've made a little knot into my thread already. I'm using it double because I want it to be strong, because later you're going to gather things up and therefore you need a strong piece of thread that isn't going to rip. Make your little knot and then do a running stitch. Now down below and in the iCards I've got some videos about the different stitches, and a running stitch is the basic of all stitches, and you basically go down and then back up, and you go down. So you basically go in, out, and you do that until you get to the end. Make sure you get all your pieces of fabric. You don't come off all 4 layers. There we go. Okay, now what you do is, look, you can give it a little tug. When you've tugged it, you can see you have your first petal. Isn't that cute? So now we leave it, we take our next circle. Again, we fold it, and we fold it. And then we go straight into the next one, and again, do our running stitch. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all 6 of them and then come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so you've almost finished. In fact, this one could easily have another petal here, I think, but it doesn't matter, it's really a choice thing. So now I've got all the way around. Now I want to make sure it's nice and tight. Be careful that as you're pulling it, so with a running stitch you can gather, so you can pull, but be careful, if you pull too hard, your thread might rip, and then you have to start all over again. So when you're pulling it, do be careful. So I've pulled mine. You might want an adult to help you with this bit. And now I'm just securing the stitches, right? So I've just pulled it, then give it a little tug, and I'm just putting a couple of random stitches in to hold that in place. So so this is all now tight and it won't come apart. So now I kind of bring it over to the other side and sew it together. And by sewing it together, the way you sew it together is literally to just take one stitch, so running the stitch here, so pushing it in like that, pulling it out to the other side, okay, look, they're really closer together, and then turning it round and then going back into, you see there's the thread, so I'm going to pull that and then pushing it back onto the other side. It doesn't have to be super duper neat, but that's basically how you, here we go, sew them together. Can you see that? So I'm going to do a couple of those stitches. I'm going to try and do it as neat as possible with the sort of fuzzy bits pointing inwards. So again, I'll do another one of those. Get it as neat as possible, like so. Choose a front and a back. Now let's see if my button's big enough. I might go and have a look if I've got a slightly bigger button, because I kind of want that to hide the background a bit more. But what I'm going to do first is, looking at it from the back, so I'm going to turn it around, I'm just going to crisscross it with a few stitches just to bring my flower together. So I'm going to take a little, to poke it in one side, bring it out opposite. So I'm just trying to kind of close up that back because it's a big hole. So I'm going to do that again. So another one to close it up, like that. And now I'm going to go opposite. So I'm going to bring it over here and bring the thread over to this side. Oh, I didn't quite catch, so push it in again. There we go. So you're kind of closing up that hole a bit. Now I'm going to do the same there. This is just kind of bringing it all, neatening it up and closing up the back. Now, if you want to, you could put a little bit of felt on the back to kind of neaten it off and put like a safety pin there to kind of wear it as a brooch. Or you could sew it onto a handbag as a little decoration. Could make it into a hairpiece. So all I'm doing is closing off the back by sewing kind of across. And I think actually that will make the front a bit better for my little button. Let's have a look. So there we go, much better, isn't it? So let's, now I've closed off the front a bit, the back, I can now sew on a button. So again, in my video, in my Craft Basics series below, but also I'll link it, I've got a how to sew on a button video. So if you want to spend some extra time on buttons, just to have a look at that, you can. But basically I'm just pushing the needle through, bringing it out the back, bringing the needle back up, and so on until the button's nice and neat. And that's basically it. It's a very simple, cute fabric flower. Now I love that this one's made from my old pyjamas. I thought it was a really lovely pair. So if you've got some favourite clothes that you're really sad have broken, if the fabric still looks nice, so it's not too worn, you can make a really, really nice flower keepsake out of it. So there you go. So maybe push it in a little bit just to get it a bit neater. And that is how easy it is to make a fabric flower. Now I've actually left it a little bit short at the back. Normally I would now tie it in and make a little knot, but I'm just going to have to fiddle with it off camera because I left a little bit, the thread should have been a tiny bit longer. But there you go. Isn't that cute? Look how simple. Such a lovely recycle project. Now, hope you like it. Remember to give the project a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel, and see you here again soon. Anyway, bye.